What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to Output Racing League round number 9 from the Texas Motor Speedway. So we've already got quite a few cars on the track. We've got a hot track with the new Xfinity car. Things are a little bit slippery out there, but we're going to be hoping for some close, fast action for today's race. So before we get kicked into things too quickly, we're going to go down and join the boys down on track. We're going to do a pit party just so we can show you what it's like to drive around a Texas Motor Speedway in these new Xfinity cars. Now we do have some returning names in the form of Jared Pashley, a name which I usually always seem to stuff up in a one way or another. We're backing up through the nicely pink car of Brian Harris there, coming through Brandon C. Miller now. As we're making our way to the back, we've got Charles Becker in the 16 with a new look as well. A lot of these cars have different paints to what we're used to seeing, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see some of these new colors on the track. As I'm pretty sure we are somewhat towards the back now, so we're just going to hook it right and join in on the back of this line. I think we are actually starting to roll now. Gonna open up the radio channel so we can hear for when the green flag's gonna come out. Very slippery apron here. These cars are fairly loose at this track in general. The apron just compounds that issue. We're going to wait for everyone to go past. I think that's about it. We're going to be starting behind the 5 of Mark Penticuff, running a K&N paint.
3, 2, 1, car inside. Still on the left. Still on the left.
Oh, he's already in the wall. He's already loose.
Clear outside.
That was scary. Or something that you'd want to see coming to the green flag there. Got the 7 of Brian Harris just in front of us here. We're going to just scoot on by him on the outside, maybe possibly. We see someone get squeezed out up high. That was the 21 of Brian Chambliss, the current top time for the practice session here. I think he was squeezed out by Aaron Bourgeois there.
Car inside.
Aaron making a return to the league after a fairly long hiatus.
Still on the left.
Oh, as we got spin in front of us. Oh, and we've been a part of it. We accidentally gave the tap to Aaron there, and we got one back when he hit the wall. But this is not the way that we end our pit parties.
my bear, boy.
Back out onto the track we go. Now you probably noticed that there was quite a bit of throttle modulation there, as the track is pretty hard to navigate in these slick conditions. As we're going to have to clear our penalty there just for a second.
Just make sure you don't cross the blend line when you're exiting the pits. Okay, we got a stop go penalty.
But even on the first lap here, when your tyres are at the freshest, and hear the tyres protesting the speed that you're going. little bit of brake will just help to settle the front wheels a little bit in the corner, but you're just constantly hurting these tires the entire time you're turning. And the hot track temperatures will also play a factor in that. Also, you do not want to hit the apron whatsoever, because that will just send you sideways and you will have a bad time. So we're going to do a few laps here of practice with the boys, and then we're going to attempt to do a green flag stop simulation, and then we'll return to our regular commentating duties. As you can hear there, the tyres massively protesting on corner entry, even with the slight brake, just to try and settle the car a little bit. Definitely going to make things interesting for the race. A lot of people are going to be getting tight on entry and loose on exit. You see there, we got very tight in the corner, tight all the way up to turn 2 as we've got another spinner here in front of us. That is Jared Pashley.
Car stopped ahead. Stay left.
We've got lots more crashes here, lots of death coming off of turn 4.
30.991.
We have Brian Chambliss coming up behind us. He's got 1 or 2 lap pressure tyres on us, so we're going to run high and let him go.
Car inside.
We could start seeing this higher groove come in a little bit as the tyres start to wear out.
Still on the left.
But at the moment, with only having a couple of laps on the tyres, it's not really viable. You see with how quickly Brian got around us there. There you go, we hit the apron. So did Brian. Brian's going to be gone. We're going to slip around the outside of him. That is the danger of hitting the apron too hard.
30.874.
We're going to do one more lap around it, and then we're going to attempt a green flag pit entry.
Clear inside.
As long as Brian Harris doesn't decide he wants to give us a little bit of a tap. Just keep an eye on that pretty pink car as we're coming through turns 1 and 2. You can tell the fresh tyre advantage there. The undercut is a very viable strategy if you want to play the strategy game for a long green flag run.
Car outside. Clear outside.
As you can see, they're just pushing so heavily, trying to get onto the apron. And not a bad little pit entry there, nice, controlled. Better than some of the last ones we've done here on the broadcast. And we'll return back to the outside of the car action to see what's going on around the track. On screen we've got the 38 of Thomas Harmon, running pink and black as per usual. Actually no, he usually runs pink and white. So this pink and black combination, it's actually quite nice. I really like it. You can see him running around the outside of a few cars here, including the 72 of Joshua Durham. Of Caleb Finn getting involved in it as well. Joshua must have the fresh tyres because he's just pulled away from these guys like they were standing still. Somewhere around here we also have the 22 of Brandon Miller. Oh, Brandon getting a little bit loose there. Brandon also sporting a new paint job with Miller's Creature Comforts on the hood, Output Racing and the Aussie Sim Commentator channel on the car, and I think there's a Speedway Memes logo scattered somewhere on there as well. Make sure you go and check out Brandon Miller at his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/getinmycreepyvan. All one word. As we can see up ahead, Frank Isaacson in the 24 getting very loose coming off turn 4. Spins it out and stays on the apron. Good job to recover it from there. Oh, so we have a big crash now, the 81. That's Corey Williamson and the 7 of Brian Harris. Not sure what happened there, but it's going into turn 1. They've definitely had it coming together there. Now on the screen we have the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. Not sure what paint job that is, but it's definitely a nice one. I do like me some dark paint jobs. And just a couple of cars behind him is the returning 15 of Aaron Beauvoir. See, he's running an output scheme as well with his Twitch mascot on the hood. Make sure you go and follow Aaron over at twitch.tv/psychoboy15. He's currently live now, I know that one for sure and certain. Because we haven't had Aaron here racing with us for a while, let's bring up his driver stats. As you can see down there in the bottom left corner, Aaron is a A-Class 3.09 driver with a 1455 I rating. He's from out west in Arizona, and I'm glad to see him back on track. Because of his work schedule, he usually can't race with us, but it's definitely good to see him mixing it up with us again. He was a little bit nervous. I spoke with him a little bit before this event, and he was really trying to hit the practice hard so he could get back into the groove of driving and maybe hopefully mix it up with some of these faster guys. Currently down in the 17th position though, but only half a second off the leading time set by Jaron Sanchez. We're now going back to focusing on crashes. We've come up to Travis Massia in the 13 with a Gladiator inspired paint job. An awesome paint job. The back of it even says, "Are you not entertained?" And now we see Jaron Sanchez in the 4 car, right behind Brian Harris in the 7. Jaron also running a new paint job here. He's got output on it. It's got a few other things on it. Let's see if we can get a closer look. New Output Racing logo on the hood and on the side. Very nice paint job indeed, but it's lacking in broadcaster awareness. Just in front of him, Brian Harris running the number 7 car as per normal. Pink with his channel logo on the front of it. If you want to go follow Brian Harris on Twitch, then it's twitch.tv/bestshots, but the O in shots is a 0. But the links to most of these guys' channels is down below the broadcast here over on the Twitch side of things. Just go scroll down to driver channels, I think it's called. Oh, driver streams it is. And I actually haven't got Brian Harris down there, so I'm just going to go and add that real quick. As we are going to get back to the practice here. Only got 8 minutes left in practice before we head on to qualifying. You see the 16 of Charles Becker making his way back out onto the track now. And while we're at it, we should do a little quick through the field here just to see where everyone's at. At first, currently, we now have Derek Myers, who's just set this time a 29.960. As we see him hit the wall coming off a turn 2. Got to go to the back up, but he's going to pull it to the infield as he rubs the inside wall there as well. P2 is going to be Brian Chambliss, currently with a 29.963. P4 is Jaron Sanchez at 30.034. Thomas Harmon sitting in 4th. Ryan Pizzacchemi 5th. Charles Becker's 6th. Matt Burgess 7th. Jerry Glenn's currently 8th, with Caleb Finn in 9th. Tommy Bordeaux all the way down in 10th. Chris Champeau in 11th, Brandon C. Miller in 12th, Frank Isaacson 13th, Brian Harris 14th, Travis Massier 15th, Joshua Durham in 16th, Jared Pashley in 17th, Mark Penticup 18th, Corey Williamson 19th, and the 20th position is Aaron Beauvoir. It says that we're going to have 23 cars registered for the race, so we've still got 3 who have yet to lay down a lap time. One of them being Brian Beach, who's just entered onto the raceway. There he is, making his way out onto the track now. Not sure who the other drivers are at the moment. So we'll have to find out in due course. Ryan currently in last, 21st with a 44.819. Let's see what he can do on his second lap here. And it's a big improvement, putting him up to P3, a 29.980. That is absolutely blistering quick. What a good job there. See Thomas Harmon on screen. I think that might be Derek Myers behind him. That is Derek Myers behind him, running a very different paint scheme to what we are used to seeing him in. In a yellow and black combination this time. He's got a Killer Bee on there as well. Or unless that's a Wasp. Either way, very nice color combination there for Derek. As it looks like everyone's coming out to do mock qualifying runs here. We're going to take this time to have a quick little look at Jared Pashley, driver that we haven't seen for a while from the New York area. He's a C-Class 2.41 driver with a 1479i rating, running a new black and white combo with a bit of blue splashed into it. This paint was actually made by Brian Harris just yesterday. Got the Output logo on the back with some Aussie Sim Commentator logos towards the back as well. And you can see Jared Pashley over at twitch.tv/J6. As we're in the final stages of practice now, getting ready for qualifying to begin. Everyone trying the very best they can to improve their times. Currently Thomas Harmon with the top time, 29.938. The Derek Myers, a 29.954. Brian Chambliss third, Brian Beechin fourth. Jaron Sanchez still sitting in fifth. As everyone's still trying to come to terms with the hot track temp. That's definitely making things quite a bit interesting here. See Frank Isaacson and Brian Beach there. Pushing their cars pretty hard. Frank getting a little bit loose coming off turn 4. We'll probably see quite a bit of that happening throughout the race. As we're now within 2 minutes to go for the end of practice. There is the 21 of Brian Chambliss, currently third. Got the 16 of Charles Becker coming up on his inside. Charles currently in the 8th position as the iRacing car changer automatically selected the 16. GG iRacing. Now we have Gerald West, who has recently entered the fray. Gerald running a nice black and white scheme there. Course number 86 SSR on the rear quarter panel there. Let's see what Gerald can do for his opening lap time here. We see the 2 of Chris Champeau spinning off into the inside of the back straight there. He must have connected the wall on the exit of turn 2. Oh, and the 86 of Gerald West getting sideways there after getting the 3rd best time. Flex the wall right where we saw Chris Champeau just a few seconds ago. There's now 20 seconds to go in practice. We're going to cut out here, go to a commercial break. When we come back, we should be just about getting ready the grid for round number 9 of the Output Racing League from Texas. Alrighty guys, qualifying is over. It's time for us to check out the starting grid here. And as we can see already, the pole man is going to be league owner and operator Jaron Sanchez in the 4 car. On his outside will be Derek Myers. Jaron qualifying with a time of a 29.755, blistering quick. Starting out of P3 will be the 21 of Brian Chambliss. Out of P4 will be the 2 of Chris Champeau. Then we're going to have the 16 car of Charles Becker out of 5, with Tommy Bordeaux on his outside in the 57. The 98 of Jerry Glenn will be out of 7th, with Jared Pashley in the 109 starting on his outside. Brandon Miller in the 22 car will be starting on the inside of row 5, with Caleb Finn on his outside. Frank Isaacson will be the one starting out of 11th position, and starting out 12th will be the 12 of Matt Burgess. Starting out of 13th will be the 7 of Brian Harris, and on his outside will be the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. The 72 of Joshua Durham will be starting out of 15th, with the 15 of Aaron Beauvoir starting out of 16th. 17th place will see the 13 of Travis Massia, and on his outside will be the 86 of Gerald West. Thomas Harmon, who has not put down a lap time, will be starting out of the 19th position, with Dustin German in the 99 starting on his outside. Brian Pizzakemi in the 78 car will be starting out of 21st, with Corey Williamson on his outside. Even though it looks like Corey's on the outside of the back row right now, he will be starting next to Brian Pizzakemi, as you can see there. And last but not least, starting at the very back will be the 18 of Brian Beach. A big field of cars here tonight, 23 to take the green flag. It's all going to be about who can get going the best here. You see a little bit of hawky-balkiness here at the back, with Dustin German looking like he didn't get going there straight away. The hearts are thumping, the adrenaline is pumping as we're getting ready to go green. First start is on the green flag. All the starts after that will be on the leader. So which yellow car is going to be leading us to the first lap? Is it going to be Jaron? Is it going to be Derek? We'll find out here in just a quick second. And we are off and racing. Round number 9 of the Output Racing League from Texas. And Jaron gets the early lead so far. Derek falls back very quickly to P2. Then on the outside line, he comes down now just in front of Brian Chambliss to take over that second position clean and clear. And it looks like we already have someone in the wall there towards the back. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been the 2 of Chris Champeau. Already losing a lot of ground here. Stuck on the outside. I think he might have a little bit of bodywork damage there. I'm not sure. We also saw the 24 of Frank Isaacson stuck on the outside, starting to lose some position as well. He's falling back into the clutches of Brandon Miller. But now it looks like he's starting to hold strong on the outside there, as the tyre wear is already starting to take effect. See Jared Pashley also going to the outside, just ahead of them. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers can navigate this track with the temperature being up there a little bit, as it looks like we've got a battle for the lead. 21 of Brian Chambliss looking to make the move on the inside of league owner and operator Jaron Sanchez. Is going into turn 1, he gets the move made, and that is going to be Brian Chambliss into the lead of this race, with Jaron Sanchez in P2. Looks like everything is all clean and clear so far, much cleaner than what it was in that pit party that we did. Just having a quick little scan of things going on to see if there's any moves being made. We've got Jerry Glenn stuck on the outside of Tommy Bordeaux right now. Both of them trying to give each other plenty of room. see Tommy Bordeaux actually lose the position there to Jerry Glenn. Just behind them, Chris Champeau still on the outside, getting overtaken by Matt Burgess in the 12 car. Gonna go back a little bit further here. See Thomas Harmon making some moves already. Gerald West is there as well. They're right behind Frank Isaacson. Gerald now coming up to the inside of Thomas Harmon as he's kind of blocked in a little bit by Frank. And that should be Gerald getting up into what will be 11th place now as he also makes the move on Frank. Thomas Harmon trying to go with him. Those guys are SSR teammates. I think. I don't know, don't quote me on this. I don't know what I'm talking about. You see Frank now just falling into the clutches of these cars as Gerald West is just absolutely carving his way through this field. He is driving like a man possessed and Thomas Harmon is just following in his tyre treads. Looks like for now at least things are going to start settling down for these guys as the traffic's starting to thin out in front of them. They also got a move occurring just in front of these guys as well. The 12 and the 57 just swapped positions. That is Matt Burgess up into P8. Tony Bordeaux actually went from 6th to 8th there, sorry. Matt Burgess up into 7th. We're going to go back to having a look at our league owner and operator, Jaron Sanchez, as he is trying to defend hard. But you know, that's not him. He's back into 4th. That must be Derek Myers up there into 2nd with 16 of Charles Becker in 3rd. Derek defending hard from Charles here. Charles has really been coming on this season. He has just been absolutely flying for most of the tracks that we've been on. As we've got a 3-wide situation out in the back there. Looks like it's all calmed down for now. I do see the 86 of Gerald West is in there. So something's happened to Gerald and he's lost a whole lot of positions here. Not sure what did happen to him, but he is out the back in 16th after being all the way up into the top 10. We now see just in front of them the 24 of Frank Isaacson defending from the 72 of Joshua Durham. Just behind them is the 22 of Brandon C. Miller as well, looking to stake his claim to this little battle. These guys are all fighting for 13th position right now. As it looks like the 22 of Brandon Miller has got the run on the inside of Joshua Durham at the moment. Josh goes deep into the corner on the outside and looks like he might hold on to position. And Brandon Miller just could not get the run up on the inside. And now that's invited the 18 of Brian Beach to have a look on his outside. Brandon Miller is one of the best tyre savers that we've got in the league. So if anyone's going to be good for a long run, it's definitely going to be him. Oh, and as we say that, he gets loose coming off of turn 2, manages to stay off the wall. Well done, Brandon Miller. That was one hell of a save. And I think that might have been what happened to the 86 of Gerald West earlier as well. And I've been calling it wrong the whole time. I thought it was Gerald West, but that's actually the 99 car there of Dustin German. So my apologies there for those two drivers. Calling it wrong this entire time. Gerald West is actually still quite comfortably up in the top 10. In fact, he's working over the 95 of Caleb Finn right now, giving him a bit of a bump into the corner. Now, that's a little bit sketchy of a move there, but nothing came of it. So that is good, as these guys are locked in a three-way battle for 5th. We've got Jerry Glenn, Caleb Finn, who has just lost his position to Gerald West. And here comes Gerald, now working his way on the inside of Jerry. These guys battling it out for 5th now, with just Jaron Sanchez in front of them. The way Gerald is going right now, he is going to just be absolutely flying towards the front of this field. Not even Thomas Harmon can match his pace right now, all the way back in 10th position. Now Gerald gets up on the inside of Jaron. Gerald's not worried about trying to save tyres at all here. He is absolutely pushing them to their limits. I'm not sure if he's got some of them special tyres from Harry Hogg, but he is absolutely flying right now. It's crazy to see the progress he has made. He started in 18th position, and in just 16 laps he is in 4th. As we now have a safety car on the field, yellow flag is out. Let's see if we can have a look at what's happened here. Oh, and we have a big crash on the back straight. DD24, Frank Isaacson is involved in the 18. Oh, Frank got loose coming off the turn 2, the 18 of Brian Beach got caught up into it. So did Dustin German, the 13 of Travis Massier. Was just trying to stop there on the inside and couldn't get it pulled up in time. That is a terrible situation for all those drivers involved. And now we should be seeing some pit stops coming into effect. 21 of Brian Chambliss will lead them down onto the pit road. Dustin German looks like he had to tow to the pits. Quite a bit of damage on his car there. Obviously he must have been unable to continue driving under his own power. Now let's wait and see who's going to come out of the pits first. Everyone is in pit lane. Here they come, the race off pit road. Going to be the 16 of Charles Becker. And Brian Chambliss, our leader, has completely lost out, dropping all the way back down to 4th. So we had a complete top 4 shake-up there. But yeah, the 16 of Charles Becker coming out on top after the pit stops. It's not like Charles had an overly exuberant time. According to my timing monitor here, he had a 13.5 second stop. Brian Chambliss actually had a 13.6, but he lost out to Derek Myers and Gerald West, who both had 14 second stops. So that's absolutely crazy. People still on the pit lane getting some repairs done here, and as they've started to roll across the line, let's go and have a quick look, go through the positions that people are in right now. Charles Becker in the lead, Derek Myers in P2, Gerald West in 3rd, Brian Chambliss currently 4th, Jerry Glenn in 5th, Caleb Finn in P6, Thomas Harmon 7th, Chris Champo in 8th, Jaron Sanchez 9th, Matt Burgess 10th, Jared Pashley 11th, Joshua Durham in 12th, Brian Harris 13th, Brandon Miller 14th, Corey Williamson 15th, Aaron Beauvoir in 16th, Mark Penticuff in 17th, Tommy Bordeaux in 18th, Brian Pizzakemi 19th, Travis Massier 20th, and Frank Isaacson 21st. Brian Beach in the pits. And Dustin German looks like he might be OUT out. Currently down to 23rd, but on my timing monitor his name is in yellow, which means he's either out of the car or out of the server. So hopefully that is not the case and Dustin can return and have a bit of a run at this. We've got a couple more takers into the pits with 1 lap to green. The field is going to start reforming here. And it looks like Charles Becker is choosing the inside for the restart. I think the inside will be the way to go here. The field, everyone off throttle and the back tyres coming out of the exhaust pipes. Actually quite the awesome sight seeing that happening down the back straight with all the cars. But coming off turn 4, the pace car will go in. The restart will be on the 16 of Charles Becker. Whenever he chooses to go is when they go. Pace car is in. And he goes just before the green flag, getting the jump over Derek Myers. Derek almost actually going with Charles there, not quite having the legs to do it. And Gerald West caught napping quite a bit there. I think that might have just been to let the 54 Derek Myers in. Derek now working over the back bumper of Charles Becker pretty hard here. See Charles getting a little bit defensive going into turn 3, but it's not going to be for any result there as Derek Myers gets up on his inside coming off of turn 4. Got a battle for second as well with Brian Chambliss making his way to the inside of Gerald West. It looks like they were almost going to go 3 wide there with the 16 of Charles Becker, thinking better of it. Charles now going to the outside of Derek Myers to see if he can get anything to work there on that higher line. At the moment it looks like the two lines are about even, slight advantage to the inside line. As Brian Chambliss is going to continue to work the low side of Charles Becker there. Charles goes very high in 1 and 2. I would almost say that was too high in 1 and 2. And Charles has just lost out on second place. He's dropping all the way back down to 5th behind Thomas Harmon. Where the hell did Thomas come from? Thomas with a 13.6 second stop over that caution period, making his way into the top 5. And even stealing 4th place there away from the 16. We're going to go back to having a look at our leader here real quick. Derek Myers in the 54 car, doing an amazing job out the front here. Looks like the battle is about to rage on for second place with Brian Chambliss and the 86 of Gerald West. Things are definitely looking like they're going to be getting interesting here very shortly, especially with the 38 of Thomas Harmon being right there in 4th place. As we look back in the field a little bit, I'm pretty sure I just saw someone hitting the wall, and I think that was the 95 of Caleb Finn who hit the wall. He's going very slow on the outside here, and his right side does look a little bit pancaked. Unfortunately, that's going to be him dropping all the way down to 10th place after being in 7th. So hopefully he can get himself back into the groove here and improve a little bit. He's currently on the tail of Chris Champeau in the 2 car, and that we saw hit the wall just a little bit earlier in the race, just a little bit after the start. I'm going to go back to having a look at our leaders to see what's going on, see if there's any battles brewing. 21 of Brian Chambliss absolutely hounding the back of Derek Myers right now. The 86 of Gerald West now working the inside of Brian Chambliss. Almost contact as they're coming up at turn 2. Close, hard, fast racing for these top positions right now. These guys are leaving nothing on the table. In fact, they've just blown the table up. Even though we're still very early in this race, only 28 laps down out of 100. These guys are still going to be pushing the limit no matter what, because it's all about that track position at the end of the day here at Texas. As you see them working their way down into turn 3. No quarters given by any of them right now. As we see the 21 of Brian Chandler slip up the track coming off of turn 4. He might have gotten a little bit tight there. Tyre wear starting to become a little bit of an issue for these guys. Gerald West going onto the grass a little bit, giving him a big push going through the corner. And that is the 21 car gone around off the nose of Gerald West. Oh, that one is definitely not good. There might have to be a little bit of a discussion in the NASCAR hauler post-race for that one. 86 of Gerald West turning the 21 of Brian Chambliss. And that wasn't a little turn either, that was a big turn. Let's go back and have a look at it here. Go into slow-mo for dramatic effect. See them coming into the corner. Gerald just hangs in on his bumper. Looks like Gerald's carrying way too much speed for the corner. I'm not sure whether he's missed his braking marker or what. But as soon as he was in that bumper, you can see he's not even getting off it at all. And just sends the 21 car around. That is just absolutely crazy. So now as we catch back up to the field, live pictures again. Like a lot of them taking pit stops, Caleb Finn decides to stay out. I think that is just so he can earn himself some bonus points for leading a lap here. The cars start coming out of the pits. I'm going to see if I can bring someone in for an interview. We do have the 21 of Brian Chambliss in the voice channels. Why wouldn't let me drag him there? Alright, looks like Brian's going to be in for a while, getting some repairs done, so let's bring him in for a chat. Hey Brian, Corey up in the booth, do you have a copy, man?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Alright, now, I know this is going to be very difficult. What happened?
I don't know. I know he was tight on my bumper coming in there and got spun around.
Yeah, it didn't look very nice. I'm not sure whether he's missed his braking marker or what, but that is pretty much what we just seen there in the live feed and the replay as well.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on. I don't know if he thought I was trying to block him or what, but I mean, he didn't. I mean, he was right on my bumper going in there and just didn't brake at the same time I did and spun me around. He had 50 seconds of damage there, so I don't know how bad the car is going to be, but I know we had a good one here today, so hopefully I can still manage a good finish out of this.
Well, yeah, you're looking pretty strong there so far, so hopefully you can turn this around and be back up at the pointy end, mate.
Yep, we're going to come in here and get this last bit of damage fixed, and we'll see what we got for him on the day.
Alright, real quickly, man, anyone you'd like to thank while we got you up here?
Yeah, I'd like to thank this league. Jaren does a great job. You with the broadcast here, and my wife for letting me do this abundantly.
Alright, well thank you very much, man. Good luck for the rest of the race, and hopefully you don't get turned again.
Yep, we'll look to turn this around here.
Alrighty guys, that was Brian Chambliss in the 21 car. Looking strong early, then unfortunately getting caught up there. Let's see if we can bring Gerald West in for a chat as well. Hey Gerald, Corey up in the booth. Do you have a copy? I don't think we have a copy there, so we're going to send him back. We're about to go back to green. So we might have to try and pick him up a little bit later on. As we're getting ready for the pace car to go in. The adrenaline is pumping, the hearts are thumping. These guys are still less than halfway through this race. And we're off and racing again. Derek Myers streaming away to a massive lead. Thomas Harmon in P2 right now. It looks like the 86 of Gerald West actually lost a lot of position in the pit stop cycle there. Falling all the way back to 6th for the restart. But the 54 of Derek Myers resuming the lead of this race. Thomas Harmon is right on his tail though, so that's going to make things very interesting. Thomas Harmon going to the low side, making a move already. I thought he was going to maybe wait a couple of laps, but no, he did not. And there he goes into the lead of the race. Thomas Harmon showing why he is last season's champion. Taking that move and doing it with a vengeance. We see the 86 of Gerald West making his way back through the field. Currently sitting on the tail tank of the 98 car, Jerry Glenn. Jerry goes to the outside to allow Gerald through. We've got Jaron Sanchez there as well, trying to make his way up on the inside of Jerry Glenn. Nothing doing there right now for him. Just behind these guys, we've got a little bit of a battle going on as well. I can see the 72 of Joshua Durham up on the inside of Chris Champeau, the 2 car. Just behind them is the 12 of Matt Burgess and the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi. Looks like the 72 has the advantage over the 2. The 2 on the outside is just getting swallowed by these guys, passing him on the inside. As now the 12 of Matt Burgess trying to make his way through. The 72 of Joshua Durham goes a little bit wide, and Matt Burgess says, I'll take that one as well. And here comes the 78 of Brian Pizzakemi as well, trying to make his way into the fray. And just behind them is another bit of a battle brewing. You can see the 7 of Brian Harris and the 109 of Jared Pashley. A little bit of nose to tail contact there for those two, but they're now separated by Chris Champeau in the 2 car. These guys looking like they've gotten themselves sorted out a little bit here. We're going to go back to having a look at what our leaders are up to. Derek Myers and Gerald West have been hooked up here in 2nd and 3rd. Doesn't look like there's going to be any team orders here. They're battling it out hard here for the 2nd place. These guys are good friends on and off the track, but right now they are fierce enemies as they're battling it out rather hard for this early in the race here for P2. When they cross the line, we're going to have 40 laps in the books, 60 laps to go. Looks like Gerald trying to look for any way that he can to get around the 54 Derek Myers here. No way around him so far. And Derek slips a little bit wide there coming off the turn 2. Gerald almost taking advantage, but was almost taken aback by how quickly Derek went up the track. Derek now gives the position to Gerald West. That battle is over for now. Let's see if Gerald can now maybe work on the back of Thomas Harmon. Try and get that first place position away. These guys still battling it out pretty hard here for second. I think we are going to take this opportunity to go to a quick little commercial break here. And when we come back, we should still be racing Output Racing League round number 9 from the Texas Speedway. Alrighty, we are back live. There's been no change for the front running position right now. Still, Thomas Harmon holding on to the lead with Gerald West right there behind him, slowly closing up the gap. Let's go for a quick little run through the field. As I said, the 38 Thomas Harmon in the lead. 86 of Gerald West sitting there in P2. Derek Myers in the 54 still sitting in third place right now. We move back to the 98 of Jerry Glenn, who's currently sitting fourth. Nice run here for the 98 car. His car is looking a little bit barren though, so he might be looking for some sponsors if anyone out there is interested. And we move back behind him. We got the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, currently running in 5th. This is a strong run for league owner and operator Jaron Sanchez, not usually up this high in the field. Just behind him, we're going to have the 16 of Charles Becker in 6th place. And then the 12 of Matt Burgess, currently sitting back in 7th. But Brian Harris in 8th position right now, with the 2 of Chris Champeau sitting in 9th. Ryan Pizzakemi in the 78 car is in 10th position. And he's got a little bit of damage himself on that rear bumper of his. So that is the top 10 here. And no positions seem to have changed at the front while I was going through the field here. So we're going to go check back in with our leaders. And that gap is almost nothing. The 86 of Gerald West is now making his move on the inside of Thomas Harmon. Now these older tyres, it's hard to tell which line is going to be the better one. But it looks like Gerald West has the inside run working well for him here. I'm not sure how he's been looking after his tyres. But we have another safety car just as the pass was about made. I think this one involved the 13 of Travis Massio. We're going to have to go back and have a look. Oh, I can see the 21 car there. That's Brian Chambliss. We just spoke to him earlier. Going into turn 1. Oh no, he's been punted again this time. He's been punted by Jared Pashley. Oh, that is very unfortunate. 2 times in a row, the 21 car has been the caution flag for the race, and the 18 of Brian Beach unable to avoid. Oh, that is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So unfortunately, that might actually end up being Brian Chambliss's race done and dusted here as he's pulling into pits to get some repairs done. Got almost the entire field coming in for pit stops, but the 7 of Brian Harris, who stays out to collect the bonus points for leading the lap. So let's see if we can grab a quick chat with Pashley here. Just wait for him to come out of the pits. Exactly, Sam. And don't forget, guys, you can find the replay of this broadcast on YouTube at the Aussie Sim Commentator channel. You can also check out the replay here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel and over on my personal channel, Corey Has No Life 13. They will be live broadcasted replays, and I'll interact in chat with you guys. So let's see if we can bring Jared Pashley in for a quick little chat here. I noticed that he was talking to the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez, who doesn't seem to be racing. So let's bring Jared in for a chat. Jared, Corey up in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Hey, firm.
Alrighty, man. Now, I'm not going to speculate on what I saw. So tell me in your own words what happened there with the 21 going into turn 1.
I drove in way too freaking deep, and yeah, didn't reel it back in time, and just lightly tapped them and completely dumped.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I saw.
yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Alrighty, man. Well, thank you for being straight up and honest. Okay, that's a rare trait among oval eye racers. So while we get you up in the booth, anyone you'd like to thank real quick?
The 88 car for attempting to help me, but you know, it's a pretty rough shape, so you know, I'm not going too well. But
Alrighty, man. Well, good luck for the rest of the race. Welcome back to the Output Racing League, and hopefully you can get yourself a good result.
yeah, hopefully that doesn't ever happen again. But yeah, I have some apologies to do after.
Alrighty, man. No worries. Catch you later.
Alright, you have a good one.
Alright, guys. So that was the 109 making his return, Jared Pashley. And yeah, we did see the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez sitting there in some of the voice channels. Might quickly drag him down for a quick chat. Actually, no, he's talking to Gerald. We'll let him be. Now, going on our order here, we've got the 86 Gerald West, the 38 Thomas Harmon, the 98 Jerry Glenn, the 4 of Jaron Sanchez, and the 54 of Derek Myers as your top 5. Continue on to the 12 of Matt Burgess, the 2 of Chris Champo, 78 Brian Pizzicami, and the 16 of Charles Becker, with the 95 of Caleb Finn to wrap out your top 10. So this should be a fairly interesting restart here. Got the 2 fast guys on the front row, with Jerry Glenn and Jaron Sanchez right behind them. Derek Myers sitting down there in 5th. As the pace car is in, we're off and racing again.
Go. Green flag.
The 86 of Gerald West with a monstrous restart there. Just absolutely clearing Thomas Harmon like he was standing still, but Thomas might have been doing that as a part of his plan to get straight back into his draft and down to the bottom side of the track. Looks like the 98 of Jerry Glenn was able to hold on to his 3rd position over Jaron Sanchez. But that could be a little bit of a battle brewing as well, with the 54 of Derek Myers just behind them. And just behind Derek is another little battle going on between Brian Pizzakemi and Matt Burgess. Matt stuck on the outside, Pizzakemi on the inside, Chris Champeau favouring the outside line, and oh no! The 78 of Brian Pizzakemi got a little bit loose there, or a little bit tight actually, up into the 12 of Matt Burgess. What an immense save there for Matt. Incredible to see him hold onto that car and not spin out and not collect anyone else. Brian Pizzakemi might have something to answer for there. As we're going to go and move back up to these guys at the front. Jaron Sanchez has been overtaken by the 54 Derek Myers. Going to go back and have a look at our leaders. Thomas Harmon still stalking the back of Gerald West here. I'm expecting these guys to be battling it out hard the entire race, as we now have 44 laps to go. It's definitely going to start getting interesting here very shortly. But see, it's not like there's a case of one of these guys is stronger in a certain area than the other. These two are both evenly matched right now. You see, there's no point where Gerald's getting away from Thomas or Thomas is closing up to Gerald. These guys are pretty much level pegging it the entire way around this track. The only difference here being Thomas being in Gerald's draft is giving him that little bit of a speed boost. But it's also giving him quite a bit of heat soak going into the tyres, making his tyres a little bit warmer than they normally would be. But Thomas is a bit of an alien and he would know how to manage that well. See Gerald going right down to the low line. He's got to be careful going down that low. Because if Gerald goes down too low, then he's going to hit that apron. He's going to get sideways. And with him being the leader, he could cause the big one here at Texas. I don't think I've ever actually seen the big one occur here at Texas. I know I've seen the big one at Bristol. A crash so big that a car that was coming out of the pits, the crash actually caught up to him and involved him. And that was a couple of seasons ago. Still quite the amazing crash that it was. See Thomas now starting to fall back off him a little bit. That might just be to try and save his stuff up a little bit here. But I don't think there's going to be a question about fuel mileage. I think this is all just going to be about tyre grip. These tyres are burning off pretty quickly here. Texas, at least from an iRacing point of view, has always been fairly hard on tyres. And that's just going to get compounded as this race goes on. As you can see, there's some shadows starting to form over in turns 1 and 2. So there'd be a little bit more track grip over there, with those parts of the track just being slightly cooler than the rest of the track. You can also see a bit of shadow here on the front straight as well. Both drivers running in the shadow. And yeah, there would definitely be a lot more track grip over there in turn 1 now than what there was at the start of this race. And it looks like Brian Chambliss might be out of the race. We actually have 4 DNFs from this race. Brian Chambliss, Brian Beach, Joshua Durham, Tommy Bordeaux and Dustin German. I'm not sure what's happened to Tommy Bordeaux, but he is 40 laps down and out of the race. That is crazy. I don't think I've seen anything happen to Tommy. So we might see if he's still in a voice channel somewhere. Maybe we can bring him up for a quick chat. And it doesn't look like he is actually in a voice channel, so we're not going to be able to bring him up for a chat. But that is still unfortunate there for Tommy Bordeaux, our season 1 and 2 champion from way back in the inaugural season of Output Racing League. But still at the moment, Gerald West in front, Thomas Harmon P2. And we've got Jerry Glenn holding on to a stout 3rd place here. Just behind him is still the 54 Derek Myers, but he is under immense pressure from the 4 of Jaron Sanchez. We've got Chris Champeau holding on to 6th, just in front of the 95 of Caleb Finn. We're going to have Brian Pizzakemi in 8th place in a little bit of no man's land all by himself. With Charles Becker just a little bit of the ways behind him here in 9th place. Then we're going to have Corey Williamson currently in the top 10. It's a surprise to see. I'm glad to see him doing so well at the moment. Right behind him we have a little bit of a battle looming here between the 5 of Mark Pentecoff and the 12 of Matt Burgess for 11th and 12th. Just behind these guys we will see the 22 of Brandon Miller currently in 13th. These nice green, black and white paint job. I do love this paint job. And behind Brandon we're going to have the 109 of Jared Pashley, who he said in an interview will have to apologize for what he did to Brian post-race. And we're going to have the 7 of Brian Harris here in 15th position, with the 24 of Frank Isaacson in 16th. Just behind Frank and pushing pretty hard here is going to be the 15 of Aaron Beauvoir. Aaron making his return to Output Racing League tonight, going to the inside of Frank Isaacson here. Not quite getting the move made yet. Frank going very high to get the run off the corner. And last but not least, 18th position, all out by himself, is going to be the 13 of Travis Massier. So let's go back in and check in with our leaders. And we've come back in at a battle for the lead. Thomas Harmon on the inside, Gerald West on the outside. Thomas gets the move made and takes the lead away from Gerald West at this point in time. Not sure whether Gerald slipped up and got a little bit wide there in turns 3 and 4, whether he might have maybe tapped the wall coming off the turn 2, but he seems to have lost quite a bit of speed here. And he is riding right up against that apron. That's a dangerous place to run. But he is still making it work, still in 2nd place. But Thomas Harmon has been unleashed and is starting to pull a little bit of a gap, already nearly 4/10 of a second over the 86 of Gerald West. And it looks like 4/10 of a second is about where it's going to sit at the moment, but you can see visually Thomas Harmon is pulling away from Gerald at the moment. It's not something that we usually see. I mean, it is something that we usually see, but not when it comes to pulling away from Gerald West. Normally Gerald showing a lot of pace, but I think this long run he might have used up his tyres just a little bit too much. Thomas Harmon being in that following position, just saving a little bit of his tyres there behind Gerald. And it looks like it's worked out for him so far. But the gap has started to come back down a little bit here. Gerald getting his bearings back. Maybe just cooling down his tyres a little bit. Starting to fight back towards the back of Thomas Harmon right now. The battle is on again. Gerald right on Thomas's tail. It looks like we might have lost Corey Williamson to the pits. Not sure whether this is a scheduled pit stop or not. I think at this point in time we might actually open up the radio waves, as we've got a pass for the lead happening right now. The 86 of Gerald West coming on the low side of Thomas Harmon right now. Thomas still holding on to position for the moment, but now that is quickly eclipsed by Gerald West, who gets the position coming off of turn 2. We also have a change for 3rd place, Derek Myers, managing to get that position over Jerry Glenn. Jaron Sanchez still sitting back there in 5th. I think he's just quite content with sitting back there in 5th and hoping for the best. And I think we are starting to get some green flag pit stops, as Gerald West is one who's come in for a pit stop. Gerald West in the pits with 26 laps to go. Thomas Harmon remains on the track now, all by himself out here in the open void that is the racetrack. Gerald will be getting a little bit of an undercut here on Thomas. Thomas might be looking to run long to have fresher tyres for the end. Oh, Thomas got a little bit loose there coming off of turn 4. Shaking the tail. Gerald West still in the pits. Just coming out of the pits now. 1 lap down officially. If a caution were to come out right now, then he would be the lucky dog. But at the moment, Thomas Harmon leads over Derek Myers by the tune of about 2 seconds to Jerry Glenn in 3rd, Jaron Sanchez 4th, and Caleb Finn in 5th. With only the 3 people who've done pit stops. Travis Massio looking like he's going to be going a lap down here very shortly. Just 7.4 seconds up the track from Thomas Harmon right now. No one else coming in for a green flag stop just yet. Everyone else looking like they might just be trying to save their tyres a little bit here. Let's go and see where Gerald West is as far as traffic is concerned. And the answer is he's coming up behind Jaron Sanchez, so he's not that far off the lead. If a caution was to come out, he would be the lucky dog wave around. But at the moment, he is far behind the field, and he's going to get caught up behind the leaders here. As you can see, he's already actually made his way past Jaron and past Jerry Glenn as well. Coming up to his teammate Derek Myers to unlap himself from his teammate. Derek not fighting him, allows him to go through, and Thomas Harmon's now come down into the pits. That's going to give the lead back to the 54 of Derek Myers. Jerry Glenn has also come into the pits. But Thomas, seeing the advantage that Derek was getting, Gerald was getting, decides to come into the pits. Saw someone in the background there getting a little bit loose. I'm not sure who that was. I think that might have been the 78 of Brian Pizzicami. Looks like he's got it gathered up now. You see the 2-car Chris Champeau going into the pits. Coming off the banking very early there in turn 4. Jaron Sanchez also coming to the pits as well. The name top 5 is Derek Myers, Caleb Finn, Brian Pizzicami, Charles Becker, and Matt Burgess. Waiting to see where some of these guys are going to file out onto the track. Thomas Harmon currently a lap down, I do believe. He is just a lap down to Derek Myers, which means he's going to be quite a few seconds off the back of Gerald West here. But he does have a couple lap fresher tyres than Gerald right now. We're going to go back to having a look at Derek Myers as Caleb Finn has come in for his pit stop.
16's pitting.
You can hear there a lot of people calling out over the radio when they're going to be pitting. Derek Myers not coming in this time.
Number 13 is pitting in this time.
Travis Massey going to be coming into the pits as well. Brian Pizzicami stays out. Matt Burgess goes in for a pit. We're now left with a very small amount of cars here who have not pitted yet. And on the back of Derek Myers is Thomas Harmon on his fresh tyres. Derek still not coming into the pits just yet. As Thomas comes and unlaps himself now. Derek looking like he's taking things very easy at the moment. Just trying not to burn up his stuff too much. I think he might be fuel saving for a longer run. As we're going to have 17 laps to go at the line this time. Derek, I think, is trying to extend this run for as long as he can so he can have fresher tyres for the end. Brian Pizzicami comes into the pit. We've got Mark Pentecoff, Brandon Miller, Brian Harris, Frank Isaacson still yet to pit with Derek Myers. Pizzicami and Brian Harris have just come into the pits this time. There's now just Derek, Mark, Brandon Miller and Frank Isaacson who haven't pitted yet. Gerald West and Thomas Harmon separated by about 4 seconds here. So let's go and have a look at how these guys are doing. Gerald just in front of Aaron Beauvoir, who is in 16th place currently. That could change as the pit stop cycles continue. Thomas Harmon just 5 seconds behind Gerald right now. Go and have a quick little look at how Thomas is getting on. Thomas in a space all on his own here. We're still waiting for these leaders to come in for a pit stop. Let's see if Derek will come in this time. It doesn't look like he is. He's still on the gas. Gonna have a look at his gyro cam just to have a listen to his revs here as he's coming through the track. I love the gyro cam because it really gives you a feel for how much banking is in some of these corners. You can hear there where Derek picked up the throttle, he was not interested in coming into the pits still. As now it's about 3 seconds that separates Gerald West from Thomas Harmon. As Jaron Sanchez gets his lap back from Derek Myers right now. Derek is surrounded by lap down cars at the moment.
That was a nice try, honestly, both of you guys.
I'm not sure what that radio message was about. I do see Frank Isaacson has actually come out in front of Thomas Harmon here. Oh, and we got a spinner.
Whoa!
That was the 7 of Brian Harris spinning down onto the apron. Caution is out. Let's go back and have a look at what's happened here to Brian Harris.
You might want to go watch that one.
And he just gets loose all by himself. Lucky not to be collected by anyone, spins it out to the infield. You can see him turn left to go to the infield there. Smart thinking. He gets it continuing on again. So now Derek Myers in the lead, Mark Pentecoff second, Brandon Miller in third, Gerald West fourth, Frank Isaacson fifth, Thomas Harmon sixth, Jaron Sanchez in seventh, and everyone else is a lap down right now. And even though it's going to be very risky for them to stay out on their old tyres, we could be seeing quite a few waiver rounds here. As we see Derek Myers making his way to the pits, lots of lap cars between him and the rest of the field. So Mark Pentecoff, Brandon Miller, Gerald West, Frank Isaacson, Thomas Harmon and Jaron Sanchez just hitting pit road right now. With 10 laps to go in this race, I'm going to step away for a little bit here. I've got to take a quick break myself. And when I come back, you guys will still be watching. But we'll be back to get ready to go green again here very shortly. Sorry guys, I am back. I just noticed the 109 here, Jared Pashley, smoking. See if we can see why he's smoking here. Oh, it just started smoking there randomly. Now, he had a nice car here when they were still running. So what's happened to Jared Pashley? Oh, he's gotten into turn 2. Oh, that's why the caution came out. It wasn't for Brian Harris at all. It was for Jared Pashley. I'm back up on the track, so that was actually really beneficial for Brian Harris. We see some of the lap cars still in front of Derek right now. Long list of lap cars there that look like they're going to go for a wave around. So at the moment, the order is Derek Myers, Gerald West, Brandon Miller, Thomas Harmon, Frank Isaacson, Jaron Sanchez, Mark Penticuff, Caleb Finn, Chris Champeau, Matt Burgess, Brian Pizzakemi, Charles Becker, Jerry Glenn, and Aaron Beauvoir. So we're going to have 14 cars on the lead lap for these final 7 laps of racing action. Going to have Corey Williamson, Travis Massier, Brian Harris, and Jared Pashley all 1 to 3 laps down. Another caution comes out. Corey Williamson is actually in the box seat to get his lap back. All those guys who've just gotten wave arounds going to be down on pace with their old tyres. We're coming through turn 4. Pace cars getting ready to head to the apron. Into pit lane. And Derek with a very quick restart there. The 86 and the 38 have both gone with him. The Derek Myers with the lead. Got Gerald West sitting there in P2 currently. And Thomas Harmon manages to steal 3rd place away. Jaron Sanchez coming up to 4th. We could very well see at least one more caution here before this race is over. And if we do see a caution within the last 5 laps, we will have one attempt at a green-white checker. At the moment, the top 3 battling out hard. This has been the top 3 for the majority of the race, with exception of the 21 of Brian Chambliss, who was unfortunately taken out of proceedings. Looks like Gerald trying to look for an inside run there on Derek. Couldn't quite get it. The door was closed just before he could sneak his nose up into there. As we now have 5 laps to go. If a caution were to come out now, then we would have a green-white checker situation. Let's hope that it's not going to be the case, because this race is absolutely cracking right now. These guys are on the absolute edge of adhesion, trying to get whatever advantage they can right now. 4 laps to go. Derek trying not to give up an inch to Gerald, while Gerald's trying not to give up an inch to Thomas. And if the 2 teammates get together, well then Thomas is in the box seat to try and take the lead away from both of them. But these guys, even though they're teammates, there is absolutely no team orders in play. Gerald wants to win just as much as Derek does. And it looks like these guys have all gotten a little bit of mongrel in them since we had the 1 week break. Derek right now still stoic in his lead. As we come to the start finish line this time, we will only have 2 laps left to run in this race. This lap will be the final opportunity for a caution to come out. If the caution does not come out on this lap and we get the white flag, then the race will be over with the checker. Derek slipping up a little bit high there in turn 2, almost tapping the wall on exit. Gerald getting a little bit of a run, not doing anything with it though. He's just running in the tire tracks of Derek right now. Gerald actually running slightly lower on exit than what Derek is, and is giving him that little bit of an advantage. White flag is out. This is the last lap. Last chance to win it or wear it for these 3 drivers. And Gerald and Thomas both getting into the wall there coming up at turn 2. Not losing too much time though. They're still nose to tail, but it looks like this one's going to be pretty academic. Derek Myers is going to come home with the win. Gerald West P2 and Thomas Harmon third, with Jaron Sanchez in P4.
Good win, Derek.
Good win, Derek.
Alright, we're going to turn off the radio now. Have a look at these guys as they're on their cooldown lap. 5th place, Caleb Finn. 6th place, surprise for the 22 of Brandon Miller. 7th place was the 5 of Mark Pentecoff. Frank Isaacson in 24th, 8th. The 12 of Matt Burgess, 9th. And Charles Becker in the 16 wraps out our top 10. Chris Champo, Jerry Glenn, Brian Pizzakemi, and Aaron Beauvoir to wrap out our lead lap runners. Corey Williamson, Travis Amasio, Brian Harris, and Jared Pashley. Our lap down cars: Brian Chambliss, Brian Beach, Joshua Durham, Tommy Bordeaux, Dustin German are our did not finishers. Alright guys, we're going to go to a quick break while we round up our drivers, and when we come back we will have driver interviews. Alrighty, guys, we are back. Going to be kicking things off, as always, with our Hard Charger Award, sponsored by Speedway Meme 69 on Facebook. And our Hard Charger for tonight is going to be a first-time winner of the Hard Charger Award. Starting from 14th, he finished in 7th, is going to be the 5 car of Mark Pentikoff. Mark, congratulations on your Hard Charger Award. First time for you being awarded it this time. How was the track for you today, man, and how did it all feel?
It feels good. It was a good night. I mean, I felt like every time I came in and came back out, I found a new line, a little bit more speed. So it would seem to be just kind of fit with my driving background.
Well, that is actually really awesome, man, because we were just talking before we came back from the break, and we were likening how slick the track was to driving on a dirt track. So what was that like for you to try and control the looseness of the car, uh, compared with the skills that you could learn from doing the dirt racing here on iRacing?
Uh, I don't. It's one of those things where not just on iRacing, but when I raced dirt for about 10 years down in Missouri, you just have a feel for it. And there's something about this track where I could feel the back end without having to. Whereas other tracks, it's harder to feel the back end in the car. So there's something about this track and this setup that just really feels like it did when I was racing on the tracks here in Missouri.
All right, man. So as the hard charger, you obviously had to make some moves there throughout the race. Um, how was the track like for passing? Like, did you have to? Was it like a pressure to pass track where you had to try and force someone up onto the higher line, or were you finding it a little bit easier than that?
I I found that the beginning of a run you could be kind of middle and gain on somebody, and then as the tires wore off, I found that I could go down low and gain a lot of speed in the middle of the corner, and that was where I could make my move and gain some speed there, and then just kind of be steady with it and gradually, pick one person off at a time or have them make a mistake trying to drive too hard in there.
All right, man. Well, while we got you up here in the booth, anyone you'd like to thank for helping you out here tonight?
Well, you know what? I mean, there's something to be said for have God on your side and to have your friends on your side and people supporting you. And I've always had that when I was racing in real life, and I still have that now. And I appreciate all the people that come out and support me.
All right, man. Well, congratulations, and congratulations on getting an entry into possibly winning the $5 as provided by Speedway Memes for the overall Hard Charger Award.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, guys. So that was the 5 of Mark Pentikoff, tonight's Hard Charger, making his way from 14th to 7th in what was an amazing drive for him. His first time winning it, great result. Completely great result. Coming up next, we're going to have one of the guys that needs absolutely no introduction. Last season's champion and third place runner here tonight. We're talking to the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Thomas, great race for you tonight. Hard battle there with Derek Gerald and to a lesser extent Brian Chambliss before he got taken out. How was the race for you, starting all the way at the back without a qualifying time and making your way up to the front with Gerald?
You had to be patient, that's for sure. And when you made your passes, you had to do them. You had to make them quick. But overall, fun race. Wish the track tempo would have been up there a little bit more. Let it slide around a little bit more. But it is what it is. We'll get those races, especially if we go to Atlanta. But overall, fun race. I enjoyed it.
I was just talking to Mark Pentikoff before this, and he likened the driving style that you needed for here to be a little bit of like a dirt track kind of style. Did you notice that you were having to slide the car a little bit to be a little bit faster than the others, or were you just trying to drive that thing as straight as you possibly could?
Uh, Try to drive it as straight as you can, but you can dirt track it if you wanted. Um, This car feels a little bit like the old A car, a little bit more grip, but the driving style you need is pretty much the same.
Alrighty, man. Well, I know you got some people to give a shout out to while we got you up here. Oh, who you got to shout out tonight?
Start off with you up in the booth, broadcasting it to all the fans. Shout out to the fans that come out and watch every week and support us. Jaron and all the admins for putting on the league. All the competitors that come out every week. S2R and Avril for joining the Xfinity.
Alright, man. I also noticed that you've got yourself a new paint job as well. Looks very smick, I must say. So who you got to thank for your paint job?
That would be Bill Edwards with Fatal Concepts.
Alrighty, there you go. So if you want a very slick looking paint job, that is the man that you got to go talk to. Very nice looking paint job, I must say, Thomas.
Thank you.
Alrighty, congratulations on P3, man, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.
Iowa.
Ooh, Iowa. It's going to be interesting. Nice short track. Play to your advantage a little bit there.
I like me some Iowa. I'll just leave it at that.
Alrighty, awesome. Alright, well, congratulations again, man, and we look forward to seeing you at Iowa.
Yep, I'll be there.
Alrighty, guys, so that was our third place getter, the returning champion, Thomas Harmon. And now we are going to move on to our second place getter. This is another man who needs almost no introduction, and just like Thomas, fought his way from the very back of the pack with no qualifying time and managed to finish in the top 3. We are, of course, talking to the 86 of Gerald West. Gerald, an amazing race tonight. You, Derek, Thomas, and for the early stages, Brian Chambliss having an excellent battle there. But I've got to ask, what happened between you and Brian going into turn 1?
Yeah, man. I don't know. Tough race, dude. I wouldn't say an awesome, race for me because of that incident right there. But when you're that close to somebody going into the corner and you don't know their breaking point, I can't see a whole lot actually going into the corner like that. So it was totally my fault. I'm not trying to throw it on him or anybody else. It's totally my fault, man. I was just couldn't see going into the corner as much as I would like, and then when he lifts, I get into him. What makes it worse though is I probably could have hit the brake a little harder to give him a shot to save it. In hindsight, I wish I would have done that, so I feel bad about it, and hopefully he got my apology. I didn't have a chance to do it during the race, but I had somebody relay the message for me. Hopefully they got it to him. If not, hopefully he can hear this, man. But yeah, it was just a tough situation. I hate to have any kind of races where something like that happens. So it doesn't make me feel good at all.
Alright, man, now we got that out of the way. As I said, an amazing fight through the field for you. Starting from last, and we just watched you for a couple of laps, and you were absolutely carving your way through the field, especially on fresh tires. How was the track like for you, and how easy was it to get some of those overtakes made?
Yeah, the car was good, man. I loved it. Even when I come in on that last stop, I took full tank of fuel just because I liked the way the car felt, even after the longer run. But yeah, it seemed like pit strategy come into it more than I thought. I kind of thought about staying out there just to, because when you're racing, it's tricky, man. It's a really tricky thing. You got to figure it on the fly if you want to risk going in or staying out. And I had a lot to lose there, man. I didn't want to lose the win. So I decided I'm gonna go in as soon as my car, lost a little bit of grip. I decided, all right, it's time to pit. Uh, but in hindsight, it was a bad call. Like Derek, he stayed out and he had a good intuition, I guess, because guys were slipping and sliding all over the place. But yeah, as soon as my car got a little squiggly, man, I went in the pits, got me 4 new tires. So I just need to remember that everybody doesn't race that way, and sometimes I need to because I think we were about 2 or 3 gallons short. So I don't know, but can't look back and regret, man.
Alright, now I'm just getting from chat, Brian Chambliss has just said, I got it, we're all good, mistakes happen. So there you go, the apology was received and accepted.
Yeah, man, I'm really sorry for that, and even like I said, worse. I wish I could have backed off of him a little more there because I feel like that if I would have, he would have been able to at least catch it. I'm not for sure, you don't know what would have happened in those situations, but yeah, just tough break, man, for him. I hate to see it, and he owes me one.
All right, man. Now, looking forward towards next week. We're going to Iowa. Is that going to be a good draw for you, or is it a bit of a bad time?
I was usually a pretty good track. Just depends on the temperature, and the track state. What it's like when we get there, and how many cautions we have. Like that's why we started in the back tonight. We wasn't for sure how they were going to be racing up front early, so we was going to try to play it a little bit safe, and then once we seen it was going to go green for a little bit, we started making moves up towards the front, and I believe we got up to third before the first caution come out. So um, I don't know if we'll do the same thing at Iowa or not, but I feel like we're going to bring a really good car there.
All right, awesome, man. Now I know you have a few people that you got to give a shout out to. So let's hear who you've got shout outs for this week.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Gotta tip my hat to Jaron for putting on the league, man. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have none of this fun. So big shout out to him and you, of course, for doing what y'all do to make it as fun as it is, because it's a whole lot of fun to come in here each week and just have some good guys to race around. But yeah, thank you guys, man, for that. And anybody that watches these, man, it's all about you guys, man. We try to put on the best show we can. So hopefully you guys liked what you seen today. And each week we come out here, man, with the output, guys. So but yeah, I got to thank SRTV Network on the hood of my car, man. They helped me get it done, and my teammates, man, Smoke Show Racing. So that's about it, Corey.
All right, well,
Tough break for me tonight.
well, thank you very
I
much, man.
guess
I
dreams do
reckon you
come
played.
true, Corey.
Well, I still reckon you played the strategy game pretty well because you managed to not get yourself trapped a lap down with the pit stop cycle. So well done on that, man, and fighting back to get second.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was telling my teammate, I said, you better go in, but obviously he had a dream, and dreams come true. So congratulations to him, man.
Alrighty, guys. So that was our second place getter tonight, Gerald West. Thank you again, man, and we look forward to seeing you again next week at Iowa.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Alright, guys. Gerald West, second place getter tonight. Amazing run from the back of the pack. And now for today's winner. And after that final caution, we thought it might have been a little bit of a hasty call to call him the winner, but he's the winner nonetheless. We're, of course, talking about the yellow and black car, the 54 of Derek Myers. Derek, great win tonight, holding off your teammate and Thomas Harmon, of all people, to be holding off for the win. Those are probably two of the toughest guys on the track.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I thought we're for sure a top five car tonight. Not one of the fastest like the last two weeks, but I just that call I made there at the end to stay out. I figured we'd get a caution possibly. I mean, that's what I was hoping. I I I just wanted to go for the win, and I knew that was about the only way I could get the win and then get the lead position. If we had a caution and I had already pitted, I'd have to try to get the win for maybe fourth, and I don't think I was going to be able to pass those guys. They were the two best all night, and it worked out, and we're on a roll right now, and it feels so good to win three in a row, and just awesome. I'm glad I made that call tonight. It all worked out.
Well, it's definitely a big call to stay out there. I was starting to second guess it a little bit because that new tire advantage was just so massive. But then again, if we went green all the way to the end, you're going to have fresh tires for those final 10 laps.
Yeah, I mean I was banking on the caution, but yeah, I felt like when I had to pit, I was looking at lap 90 as when I was gonna pit. I don't remember exactly when that caution came out, but yeah, I would have had fresh tires and I would have gotten some of the multiple spots back probably. I probably would have finished worse than what I would have if I would have pitted where when Jerry or Thomas did, but I was just going for the win, and that's what it's all about. I know I'll probably make the top 12 for the playoffs unless I were to get wrecked every week or something, but or have a lot of problems. But I just want to get those bonus points and get some win a win tonight, and 3 in a row. That's just great. Tonight we weren't the fastest car, but you found a way to make it happen. And those those last 10 or however many 6 laps of Jerry, oh my gosh, that was so I was so nervous, especially when you started getting down to there. You're not really gaining on the guys. I maintained through a few corners. Then I made one little slip and he got to point one behind me, and those last 2 laps especially, it's like my right foot froze up. It's like I want to get back to the gas now, and I don't know, I just like froze up. But I took a deep breath and kept going on. But I was very nervous, and I'm glad I got race clean, and me and my teammate finished 1-2. That's great.
Now let's go back to a little bit earlier in the race, man. You and Brian Chambliss were having a pretty good battle there for the lead. What was that like, driving so close with someone who drives as clean as he possibly can?
Oh yeah, at the beginning of the race, I think I let him. I was in second, and Jaron was out in the lead, and he got a run on me, and I didn't want to fight him. I just let him go, and then we both got around Jaron. I think he hit the wall barely or brushed it, and I was right there with Brian, and I didn't want to overdrive my car and run the tires off or anything, so I didn't pressure or anything. He was just as fast as me there, and I was just kind of following him. And if he slipped, then I guess I'd hopefully go around, or if I slipped, I could go back to third or just lose more time. But I did. I tried the high line a few times and lost ground and went back down to the bottom. And I think the caution came out thereafter. But yeah, that was a good battle. Hopefully, it looked good on the broadcast.
It definitely looked good, man. Unfortunately, circumstances took Brian out of the running, but the following up run with you, Gerald, and Thomas was definitely one for the ages. It was very interesting to watch, especially when it came to that pit strategy there at the end. But the track was just eating up the tires, overheating them so much. What was it like for you trying to maintain tires, especially on that long run there at the end?
I mean, yeah, I was good on new tires. I felt like I could stay with Thomas and Jerry. If I did everything right, and you don't want to run the tires off the car. But once it got to that point where you had to start driving it a little bit differently, I just wasn't as fast as them and kept losing some tenths about every lap. I don't know how many, but they were just a little bit faster. Could be a little bit more than a little, but you just had to adjust. And I knew once that caution came out, put me in the lead. Well, I can run 600, 110% laps, just as good, hopefully, as them. But if you make one little mistake, they'll be right there on you and they'll get around you. And couldn't make any mistakes, and I don't really think I made one except there on that final lap. I had to just roll out of the gas just a little bit, and Jerry didn't close in. I assume he maybe was following what I did when I got back to the gas, and because he looked like he had to roll out too, or else he was going to hit the wall. And I know I was about to, but I had to get out of it. And I was just glad to see he didn't gain on me there because that could have been an interesting final corner because I know he wanted to win just as bad because he had one of the two best cars all night. So yeah, I'm just so glad it worked out. It feels so great.
Well, I can confirm both him and Thomas had to roll out because they were so very close to hitting the wall themselves coming off of turn two. So it was definitely very interesting to watch. A lot of drama there in those final few laps. But looking forward to next week, man. We got Iowa coming up. Last season was a bit of a wreck fest. So what's your expectations coming into next week for Iowa?
Well, for Iowa, I like the track. It's a good little one. I know you can run up there by the wall in a lot of the races I've been there in different cars in this one. I hope that's the same thing because I like running up there, and that it takes a lot of skill and patience to run up there, else you can really damage your race car and fall back very quickly. But I think you can honestly probably run all over the track. It wouldn't surprise me. It just depends on the settings and how everything is in the setup. But I'm looking forward to it. I feel better about that track than this one. So
All right, man. Now we know that you got a few people that you got to give a shout out to. So who you got to shout out this week?
Shout out to my teammates, especially Jerry. He's the one who painted my car. If you can tell, our paint schemes are a little bit similar, with the same stuff on them. And Dustin and Brian Beach, they run or I know Dustin actually runs a paint scheme just like it, all of ours. But yeah, thanks to Jerry and all my teammates, and thank you for the broadcast. Like I said, like I say almost every time, it's it's fun to go back and watch. It really is, and the commentary, it's fun to listen to. And then thanks to Jaron for the league. It it probably takes a lot to put on the league. I'm sure it does. I don't know half of what goes into it, and it's the only league I race in, and it's to me it's just great. I love all the drivers are in here are very respectful, and I've never had any confrontation with anyone here. They all know how to race right, and just a lot of fun, man. I look forward to it every Tuesday. I can tell you that.
All right, man. Well, thank you again for your time. Congratulations on your third win on the trot, even with the week break that we had. And hopefully we can see you up here again for next week's race at Iowa.
See you at Iowa.
All right, guys. So that was today's winner, Derek Myers, further cementing his way into the playoff for the championship at the end of the season. Iowa next week should be a very interesting race. We should be expecting some hard, fast action there. Maybe quite a few wrecks as well. I remember last season was not broadcasted, but it was definitely quite a bit of a wreck fest. So until next week, guys, I've been your commentator, Corey. And on behalf of the league, the drivers, the officials, and the admins, we hope to see you guys all next week over at Iowa. It should be interesting. So, yeah, see you guys next week.